illusion of a single timeline. You are taught that reality moves in a straight line, past, present, future. That is convenient and mostly false. What you call now is not a point on a line, it is a selection, a moment where countless possibilities exist as potential, and one becomes experience. Quantum physics does not describe a solid world, it describes a field of probabilities, waves of what could be, not yet decided, not yet collapsed. Reality, at its foundation, is not fixed. It is available. And consciousness is not a passenger moving through time. It is the mechanism by which time is chosen. Pause. Breathe. The double-slit experiment revealed something disturbing. Particles behave like waves until they are observed. Not because the universe needs permission, but because interaction determines outcome. Observation does not create matter. It selects which probability becomes visible. This is not philosophy. It is measurement. And the same principle echoes beyond physics, into perception, behavior, and lived experience. You are not living in a timeline. You are collapsing one, moment by moment, through attention, expectation, and identity. Most people collapse the same one repeatedly, not because they are unlucky, because repetition trains selection. The nervous system prefers familiarity over truth, prediction over curiosity, safety over expansion. So the same thoughts repeat, the same reactions fire, the same decisions feel inevitable, and the same outcomes appear, wearing different clothes. This is what people mistake for fate. Hermetic wisdom said it long ago. As within, so without. Not as metaphor, as mechanism. The inner state tunes the field of what becomes accessible. Energy follows coherence. Attention follows expectation. Experience follows selection. And here is the part that stings. Nothing is holding you in a timeline. There is no cosmic lock. There is only a pattern that keeps being rehearsed until it feels like reality itself. Dark humor moment. The universe offers infinite options, and most humans keep clicking repeat, not because they chose to, but because they never noticed they were choosing at all. This is where the idea of a quantum leap gets misunderstood. It is not a jump through space. It is a break in pattern, a moment where the old selection loop is interrupted long enough for a different configuration to stabilize. Not magic, not denial, reorganization. And it begins not by changing the world, but by changing the chooser. Pause, breathe. This is the foundation. Before methods, before time windows, before embodiment, one truth must land first. You are not trapped in a timeline. You are trained into one. And anything learned can be unlearned. The next chapter explains how the brain turns probability into habit, and why most people never notice the moment of selection at all. How the brain chooses for you. The brain does not experience the field of possibility. It narrows it, relentlessly, efficiently, without asking permission. What reaches awareness is not everything that exists. It is everything the nervous system believes is relevant. This is how probability becomes experience. Neuroscience calls this prediction. Not intuition, prediction. Before a moment arrives, the brain already expects an outcome. It prepares a response. It filters the incoming signal to match the forecast. When the forecast is confirmed, the system relaxes. When I am right, I am safe. When the forecast is challenged, the system resists. Correction costs energy, so the brain learns quickly and then defends what it learned like a belief. This is why people mistake repetition for truth. The same reaction fires often enough, and it stops feeling like a choice. It feels like reality. Quantum physics describes something similar at the smallest scale. Possibilities exist as waves, until interaction selects one outcome. The brain performs this collapse constantly. Out of countless sensory signals, it chooses what to register. Out of countless interpretations, it chooses what to mean. Out of countless actions, it chooses what feels possible. And here is the quiet cruelty of the system. The brain does not choose what is best. It chooses what is familiar. Familiar patterns require less energy, less uncertainty, less recalibration. So if struggle has been rehearsed, struggle becomes visible. If rejection has been rehearsed, neutral becomes threatening. If limitation has been rehearsed, opportunity blends into the background. Not because opportunity is rare, but because it does not match the prediction. Hermetic wisdom translates this cleanly. The mind shapes the field it enters, not as mysticism, as resonance. Coherent states attract coherent information. Incoherent states scatter attention. Energy follows order, and disorder feels like fate. Dark humor moment. The universe may be infinite, but your brain is on power-saving mode. It edits aggressively, it deletes generously, and then it calls the remaining slice how life works. Pause. Breathe. This is why awareness alone begins to change things. The moment you notice prediction at work, the loop weakens. Not because you forced a new outcome, but because you stopped letting the old one decide silently. The chooser becomes visible, and once the chooser is visible, selection is no longer automatic. The next chapter reveals the gatekeeper, the specific system that decides what makes it into consciousness and what never gets the chance. That is where timelines feel solid or suddenly flexible. The gate that decides what exists. There is a system in your brain older than language, older than logic, and it decides what exists for you, not philosophically, practically. Every second, this system scans the field of incoming information and asks one question only: is this relevant to survival? Not truth, not meaning. Survival. This is the gate, the mechanism that allows certain signals through and deletes the rest before you ever notice. Most people never encounter it consciously. They live inside its decisions and call that experience reality. Neuroscience names this gate the reticular activating system. Ancient, efficient, unemotional. It does not care what you want. It cares what you have repeatedly reacted to. Repetition trains relevance. What you worry about often gets flagged as important. What you rehearse emotionally gets promoted to awareness. What you ignore consistently eventually disappears from perception. Not metaphorically, neurologically. Two people can stand in the same moment, same room, same circumstances, and walk away with different worlds. One notices threat, one notices possibility. Same field, different filter. This is where timelines stop being mystical and start being mechanical. A timeline is not where you are. It is what your gate allows you to notice. Quantum language would say out of many probabilities, one collapses into experience. The gate does the collapsing. Hermetic language would say attention is the creative act. Same truth, different mirror. Here is the uncomfortable insight. You do not consciously miss opportunities. They never reach consciousness. They are filtered out as irrelevant because they do not match the expected pattern. Expectation precedes perception. This is why effort alone fails. You cannot force the gate open. It responds to coherence, not intensity. It listens to patterns, to consistency, to what feels familiar. Dark humor moment. You think you are choosing your future, but the gate is choosing your options, and it has been trained by yesterday. Pause. Breathe. Once this is understood, the strategy changes completely. The work is no longer, how do I make something happen? The work becomes, what am I training my gate to recognize as real? Because whatever the gate tags as relevant will appear everywhere. And whatever it tags as irrelevant might as well not exist. The next chapter explains when this gate loosens, why timing matters, and how brief windows of softness allow the entire filter to be rewritten. That is where rapid shifts begin. The window where selection softens. The gate does not stay rigid forever. There are moments when its grip loosens, not through effort, through biology. As the day ends, chemistry shifts. Stress hormones decline, muscle tone drops. The nervous system stops scanning and starts integrating. This is not sleep yet. This is the threshold. A liminal state where control weakens and imprinting begins. During this window, the brain stops defending the old model and starts updating it. Not consciously, quietly. Patterns are reviewed, predictions are revised. The question becomes simple. What should I expect next? Most people answer this unconsciously, with worry, with replay, with the familiar story of what did not work. Then they are surprised when tomorrow looks identical to yesterday. Here is the correction. The gate does not respond to wishes. It responds to scenes. Scenes carry sensory detail, movement, tone, posture, context. The brain understands scenes because it evolved inside them. I want change is abstract. I notice myself already moving differently is usable. This is where timelines stop being imagined and start being embodied. When a coherent scene is calmly introduced during this soft window, the gate does not argue. It records. Reading it aloud matters. Sound activates perception. Speech engages action circuits. Multiple systems light up together. The nervous system interprets this as relevance. Repetition seals it. Once is novelty. Twice is coincidence. 3 times is pattern. And the gate trusts patterns. Then sleep begins. During sleep, the brain does not rest. It rehearses. Not events, expectations. Neural pathways strengthen. Attention maps shift. The filter recalibrates without effort. Nothing dramatic happens overnight. No fireworks, no visions. But the next day feels different. Your eyes linger where this used to rush. Your body responds where it used to freeze. Your mind registers what it used to delete. Same world, different access. Quantum language would say the probability distribution reorganized. Hermetic wisdom would say the inner order impressed itself upon the outer. Neuroscience would say salience networks updated. Different languages, same mechanism. Pause, breathe. This is why timing matters more than force. Force creates resistance. Softness creates imprint. You do not command the gate. You suggest to it, and it listens when the system is calm enough to hear. The next chapter closes the loop. Because once the filter shifts, behavior shifts. And behavior is where probability finally turns into experience. The timeline you maintain. Once the filter shifts, nothing mystical happens. And yet, everything changes. Because the moment selection changes, behavior follows. And behavior is where probability stops being theory and starts becoming experience. This is the part people misunderstand. You do not jump a timeline. You maintain one. Moment by moment, choice by choice, signal by signal. A new configuration does not stabilize because you imagined it once. It stabilizes because you stop feeding the old one. Identity is the anchor, not what you say you are, what you repeatedly enact, how you stand, how you speak, how long you hesitate, what you tolerate, what you no longer explain. These micro-behaviors signal coherence to the field, and coherence attracts response. People react differently, opportunities move faster, resistance thins. From the inside, it feels sudden. From the outside, it looks like alignment finally replacing friction. Dark humor moment. Reality did not bend for you. You simply stopped fighting it with outdated instructions. Here is the warning. Once you see this mechanism, you also see how easily it is hijacked. Fear trains the filter. Repetition programs relevance. Emotion without awareness collapses probability downward. What you consume, what you rehearse, what you emotionally reward. That is the timeline you reinforce. Not intentionally. Relentlessly. This is why discipline matters more than belief. Belief is optional. Attention is not. Hermetic wisdom closes the circuit here. Energy flows where attention goes. Not as inspiration, as law. Quantum language mirrors it. The observer does not create the universe. The observer selects the experience of it. Neuroscience confirms it. The nervous system prepares you for the world it expects. Change the expectation, and the preparation changes. Change the preparation, and outcomes reorganize. Not magically, mechanically. Pause, breathe. This is the real power. Not escaping reality, not denying consequence, but choosing, consciously, what you train your system to recognize as real. Most people live inside a loop they never agreed to. Now the loop is visible, and anything visible can be interrupted, not forever, not instantly, but long enough for a new pattern to stabilize. The timeline you experience tomorrow is already being rehearsed today. Not by fate, not by chance, by attention. Choose wisely, because the filter never sleeps.